Good morning, everybody. Happy Tuesday. We have an amazing show for everybody today. What do we have, Krystal?
Indeed, we do. So you might have caught last night Bernie Sanders was coming after Joe Biden in some new ways. We've got David Sirota, senior advisor to the campaign, on the show to talk about the strategy behind all of that. We also have Aaron Glantz. He's a great investigative reporter. He's been digging into a new housing crisis that you definitely need to know about. And we have Scott Dworkin on. He is very pro-impeachment. We're going to debate him on that, why he thinks that this has been a smart move for Democrats. But of course, we have our eye overseas on what is unfolding still in the Middle East with Iran and Iraq.
That's right. So there was some crazy news last night, whereas first of all, there was a letter, I believe we have a copy of that letter that we can throw up there, that was released, that was informing the Iraqi government from the United States military that we were going to be leaving Iraq. And people immediately started freaking out, saying, oh my gosh, are we leaving Iraq? There was a lot of confusion. Everybody in Washington was trying to find out. The Pentagon came out and they said, oh, we don't know what that letter is. We have no idea. It's disinformation, apparently, is what they were telling Capitol Hill. And then, literally, after the defense secretary and the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff walked out of the press pen saying, we have nothing to do with this letter.
Yeah.
This is false. The Joint Chief has to walk back in, the commander of the United States military, and tell them, actually, guys, it was a draft letter that was released in mistake and given to the Iraqi government. So for a matter of probably 3 hours in D.C., nobody knew if we were leaving Iraq or if we weren't. Of course, this comes after the Iraqi parliament's vote. Is a total mess.
Well, and they actually gave this to the people in Iraq. This wasn't just, we accidentally released it to the press. No.
Yeah, literally, it is mistakenly given to Iraq, then leaked by the Iraqi government to an Iranian-backed television news site. I was like, is there anything more perfect than this? I mean, this is what I talked about yesterday. What the hell are we doing in Iraq right now? The mission against ISIS has been suspended in order for force protection.
Right.
Okay. So we've got 5,000-6,000 troops just sitting in Iraq protecting each other, and a couple thousand more on the way to protect them. It's what is, and you have the host government, which doesn't even want us there anymore in the first place. It is a complete mess.
And can you imagine, I just have to say, if Obama had committed this kind of an error.
Obama did do this, for the record.
Sent a letter.
No, but he did pull us out of Iraq and, did his own problems.
This kind of mistake, though, the right would have, destroyed him over it.
I'm sitting here criticizing him.
The level of incompetence is beyond belief, let alone, there's always this debate over whether Trump is playing 4D chess. Give me a break. The guy just reacts, right? There's no thought of what comes
I don't blame
next.
Trump for this one. This is just run-of-the-mill military bureaucracy.
But where's the buck stop?
Yeah, sure. I agree.
Where's the buck stop, ultimately?
It should have been cleared up. It's bad.
Complete mess with all of this. I think there's another interesting element here, though, that we've both been following. You were tweeting about this last night. So when the news broke of the assassination of Soleimani initially, it happened during the 8 p.m. hour, which is Tucker Carlson's hour on Fox News. Tucker was immediately opposed to it. Now, he's almost alone at Fox.
And skeptical of it.
In holding that view, right? Skeptical of it is the right word. So the very first information that Fox News viewers received was from Tucker, and he made some comments that I thought were pretty interesting. He said, look, we can't have spent years, essentially, I'm paraphrasing here, we can't have spent years calling the national security state liars and mistrusting them and saying they went after Trump for political reasons, and then all of a sudden, when it serves our interest, turn around and say, oh, yes, they're patriotic, they're perfect, we trust them fully and completely. On the flip side, there needs to be a little bit of a reckoning at MSNBC and CNN because they've done the exact opposite. All these national security state people who we were so critical of under the Bush era, not only have we lionized them, they actively hired them, brought them in as analysts, et cetera, and now that it serves their interests again to be skeptical, now suddenly they're finding that skeptical side again.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And I think Tucker's is the intellectually honest position, which is that for the last 3 years, we've discussed how the intelligence community and all these other people at the highest levels targeted the Trump campaign with political motivations. And even with Ukraine Gate, you see the continuation of United States policy, an embedded policy within the national security bureaucracy. And so when those same people present you options, they shape your information environment and they try and back up what you're doing, and they say, sir, this is exactly what's happened, that you should have some skepticism of that. There's actually a lot of intellectual dishonesty to say, well, they told us that this is what was going to happen, and also to call for multiple inspector general's reports and a lot of skepticism about the way the intelligence community has handled itself. And I think that's right. That's the right place to be.
You should
which is
be
to be skeptical of power. And that's what, that's why we have been skeptical of Russiagate. And we're skeptical of this strike. It's because if you truly hold an anti-establishment frame, then you have to look at this and say, well, hold on a second.
Right.
I don't know if I believe what I'm being told because Colin Powell stood before my face when I was a kid and lied about weapons of mass destruction in Iraq. And I haven't forgotten that. And I remember how good the intel on that was.
Even if you don't have an anti-establishment view, just look at history. I mean, the Iraq War, obviously the way we were lied to, the way the media just completely bought into the spin and the BS and helped in the march and drumming up to war. And then what did we just learn from the Afghanistan papers that the Washington Post released? Administration after administration, bipartisan, lying to the American public to try to convince them that we are making progress, that we are winning in Afghanistan, when the opposite is absolutely true. Throughout American history, administrations lie when it serves their interest. National security state people lie when it serves their interest. And so look, as you're looking at these stories come out, it's not conspiracy theories. Just be skeptical. Demand to see the evidence, whether it serves your team or not. Be skeptical. That's the bottom line.
I'm not out here being like they're lying about that he was planning attacks. I believe you. I actually do. But show us some evidence.
Let's see the
I want to see the totality of the evidence. How imminent was the threat? I mean, these are reasonable questions, and that's part of the other issue, right? Is that there you have all the people on the left who are like lionizing Qasem Soleimani, or they're and then it's the same thing. They've taken what the IC has said total hand in glove whenever it comes to Russiagate and all these Ukrainegate leaks, and now they don't have the intellectual, honest position of being skeptical of what the intelligence community has told. So then they're like, well, President Trump is endangering us, and it's like, well, you have been touting their line for the last 3 years. Our leaders
strengthen these bringing John Brennan, bringing all these people in and strengthening their hand. Bill Krystal, all the never Trumpers who were involved in the run up to war, the Bill Krystal types, they've got like shows on MSNBC. I mean,
look at Clapper. Clapper lied to Congress about mass surveillance. Nothing.
You've elevated
happened.
them and put them in such a position of power that has left us vulnerable now when we do need to have a reckoning and have an honest conversation about what's going on here. I mean, it's just been this moment to me, maybe more than any other, has really crystallized the damage that MSNBC and CNN in particular have done to the left, have done to this skeptical position, because they've completely elevated and lionized these people.
No, exactly. And you need to be skeptical of everything that these people tell you. That's why it was right on Russiagate, and it's also right whenever it comes to the drive to war. But we have another announcement, Krystal.
Indeed, yes. We want to announce this morning that we are writing a book.
That's right.
It's coming out very soon, actually. It's coming out February 8th. It's called Populist Guide to 2020. Announcement is in Playbook this morning. If you want to pre-order a copy, we're pretty excited about it. You can sign up for our newsletter at rising.substack.com. Sign up there, and then you'll get information on how to pre-order a copy. We're going to have more information for you on the book.
There's a lot more information on that. We're going to be on a book tour as well with some of the familiar faces from this show. You better go to rising.substack.com. You're going to get a lot more information about that. And we're going to tell you a little bit more about this later. But until then, I'm looking forward to what's on Krystal's radar. That's next.